when I was a library services director for the Shannon River Community College before, it was corrupted by certain tribal officials. And then it went bankrupt, and then it went out of business. Now there's a different school there. But anyway, when I was still there, it was reasonably okay. And there was another guy there, and he was working there on a tribal program. His name was Victor Harold. And Victor, he was much older than me, but he's from the west side. I'm from the west side of Shannon River. That's the traditional side. The west end, that's what they call it. The west end is this is where the brown people live. This is where the long-haired people, the people who still speak Lakota, the people who still do the ceremonies. That's the traditional side. I know he did some things concerning our language and culture. And, working in the Rapid City area, South Dakota. I was involved with some powwows there too. He's knowledgeable. Yeah, he knew things. And one time we went to we were at this college conference in Rapid City. And that's when we both worked for Shannon River Community College. And it was late, and we were staying at the Ramada Inn, and he's called me up. It's probably about 11 o'clock or so, and he said, "Yeah." I said, "What do you think?" He said, "You want to go down to the restaurant and have some steak?" 11 o'clock at night. I said, "Okay, let's head down there." So we went down there. Gee, there's a lot of people down there. Rapid City's nightlife, yeah, all young people. There's some Indians there too. We really had an interesting discussion when we were talking about Heoka. Heoka is when a man dreams about thunder and lightning very, very frequently. He has to talk to a holy person about that. He has to say to him all the dreams that he's had, because inside those dreams there might be a calling for that man to be a Heoka for 1 year. A Heoka is the male representation of a thunder being called Wakia. When it's in the female form, it's Wakia. When it's in male form, it's Heoka. It's the same being. Yeah, it's both male and female. It's like a hermaphrodite. See, this is one of the things the Christian and Catholic priests didn't like about our cultures, that we had this kind of information. That hermaphrodites were totally natural. And of course in the Bible there's only man and woman. Yeah. But in the Lakota way there's more than two genders. Yeah. So so we were talking about that. Oh, by the way, a Heoka, what they do is they do everything backwards, and they speak the opposite of what they mean. And it's kind of freaky sometimes, yeah? Like, for example, let's say you're in a sweat lodge ceremony, and a spirit comes in, and it's a Heoka soul, yeah? And the Heoka, he'll come in, he'll greet everybody, yeah, in Lakota, of course. And he's going to say something like, until next time, because see, we don't have a word for goodbye. So he'll say, Doksa ke. And then he'll say something like, I really don't like it here. This place is horrible. It stinks in here. I can see all of you, and you all are ugly. You're worthless. I wish I didn't come here to see this horrible, gruesome looking people. in this sweat lodge, and I hope all of you die as soon as possible. How? And I say, hello. Then it might leave. And if you don't know what a heoka is, that's gonna really freak you out. Yeah. He said everything in opposite. Yeah. What he meant was hello, um, something like just think of the opposite. Yeah. He'll say like, boy, I'm really glad I came here. It's so nice. I can't see you guys, but I can feel you guys are wonderful people. And it's so nice to be among you guys, and I wish I could stay here longer. And I wish all of you a long, healthy life. Take care of yourselves. Be good to yourself. Be good to one another. Yeah. Learn from your lessons in your life, so you can help others when they go through that. Yeah. Ask for help when you need it. I'll see you guys later, and he leaves. See, he said everything. You have when you know that he's heoka, you know that he means the opposite of what he says. See, that's an example. So Victor and I, we were talking about this, and we were talking about how he knew of a person that he really was having a hard decision to make in his life, and it was one of his friends, yeah, that I didn't know, and he said, yeah, he had a big decision to make in his life, and he started to get certain kind of dreams, and the dreams were hinting that he might have to do something, but he doesn't know for sure, yeah, and it wasn't the Heoka dream, okay? It was just dreams. So the holy man said to this guy, he said, I want you to be a Heoka for 3 months, he said, for one season. Yeah? And he said, I'll talk to your boss, I'll talk to everybody you work with, that what's going to happen during that time. Because when you're Heoka 24/7. You don't just start at 8 o'clock and you're done at 4 and have a lunch break. No, you're Heoka all the time. So your boss needs to understand that. Yeah. So the guy said, okay, I'll agree to that. So see, this guy didn't dream of lightning and thunder. That's why this holy man said you can't do that for a long time. But there's something that being a Heoka might, for a little tiny while, he said, that might open something up. Yeah? And so then they agreed to that. So the holy person talked to this man's boss and his co-workers. They had a staff meeting, and they said, this guy came to me in ceremony, and he has something that needs to be worked out. It's very important, and it's going to affect the way he works too. Yeah, so it's really important that we understand this. And so they all understood that when he comes in, he's going to have his clothes inside out. His shirts are going to be on backwards, so are his pants. His shoes are going to be on the wrong side of his feet. His hair is going to be in front of his face. And he's going to come in walking backwards. And he said, it's going to be funny. He said, and go ahead and laugh. They said, yeah, they told the boss and the coworkers, go ahead and laugh, because that's what he's there for. Yeah, this is what Heoka are about. They're about giving you good energy. Yeah, when you laugh, you cleanse yourself. So he said he's going to say things that are going to be they're going to sound just off the wall. He said, and if you feel like laughing, laugh. You're supposed to laugh. He already knows, because this is what being a Heoka is all about. So the boss gave him official, time to be a clown. Yeah. So this was not going to work everywhere, but he had a very understanding boss who really respected the Lakota ways. So they were in agreement. They said, okay, that's going to happen. So the next day it came. Sure enough, the guy came to work, came walking in backwards. Clothes were inside out. His shirt and pants were on backwards. His shoes were on the wrong side, and he'd come in and he'd do everything in opposite. It's just really hilarious the things he did. When he went to sit on the chair, he made it like as if the chair was really a giant chair, so he was like trying to crawl up the chair legs and like it's a big tree or something like that. And he's just making people laugh and but he did it, yes. So for 3 months he did that. Can you imagine that? 3 months. So it was just a hilarious thing. And here, when the 3 months was over, they went into a sweat lodge ceremony to cut it, to end the thing there. After that, the guy went home, and as he was driving home, the answer to his dilemma came to him, and it was really beautiful, yeah. Because see, what he was doing was making people laugh. This is a healthy communication. When you do something to make people feel good, and you're doing it because you want to do it, that's sending out an energy that's going to come back to you 4 times as strong. So when this energy was returning to him, of entertaining the people for all this time, that energy came back to him and opened up his mind a little bit more, and that answer came running through. It was a difficult thing. So it's not about, should I ask that girl out or not? Not like that. No, this was something very, very serious. Yeah, it was very, very serious. That's why he had to do this. If it was something small, you can figure that out on your own. Yeah, but this was something that was incredibly serious. That's why he needed to do something like this. And so Victor was saying he found it weird because usually only heokas, a man can only be a heoka by seeing lightning and thunder. So he thought it was odd, that this guy, this holy person, told this man to be heoka, but only for 3 months, for 3 moons, and then they had to end it. Yeah, and they had to go through a ceremony to end it. And but what it was about was there were people at work that one of them was thinking of committing suicide, and the funny, interesting thing was that during these 90 days, this guy being a heoka, it affected that other person. He started to, become more relaxed about things, and then he decided not to do it, but he came to him, yeah, and he told him, he really thanked him for this experience that everybody got to be a part of. He said, because they helped me. He said, and he told him that he went to see the same holy person too, and the holy person realized that guy had a depression. This other guy, this is the third guy, okay, that he had a depression, and that he had to they had to what do you call it? There was certain things they had to do. There was a certain kind of meat that he had to eat. That if I tell you what it is, you're going to gross out. Yeah, so I'm not going to say what it is. My students know what this is. Those of you that know what a kettle dance is, you know what meat it is. This meat is only supposed to be eaten by people who have depression and other mental disorders. Okay? It's not for the common person. Not everybody is supposed to eat this meat. Okay? Just very, very sick people are supposed to eat this. So this man, the suicidal guy, Wasn't traditional at all. In fact, he can't even speak Lakota. He's a Lakota guy, but he couldn't even speak Lakota. But the fact that the Heoka guy, you know, that he, they had this meeting with the holy person, and this holy person was telling everybody, he's preparing everybody that about what this guy's going to do for the next 90 days. This other guy was really affected by that. Yeah, that he realized that, hey, there's maybe I should talk to this holy man about what I'm feeling. But because sometimes depressed people, they can't even do that. They're so far in depression that they can't even help themselves. It really is an illness. Yeah, thinking positive, happy thoughts is not going to fix it. This is a disease. It's a real disease that's very difficult to deal with, but it is possible. Yeah, it's not the end of the world, but it is possible. It may be something you have to live with for however long, but you make it your friend somehow. Yeah, you get to know it. You let it work for you. And like for example, maybe you experience something and suddenly a certain feeling comes to you. And then you say, my disease is telling me something. Yeah, my disease. So let me just sit down here, and now let me think this out. Yeah, and so you go through whatever routine like that, and then that feeling goes by, and then you're like, wow, your disease just helped you. Yeah, yes, it is painful, but there is a way to transform it so it can help you. Rather than making it go away, you can transform it into something that helps you. Then you have like an ally. You have something that works for you. This guy learned that. Yeah, the suicidal guy. He went and talked to this holy person. He told him about that, and he asked him, how can what can I do? Can you help me? And through interaction there, he was able to. This holy person was able to do this ceremony, this kettle dance ceremony with this guy, in which he was instructed to eat a certain meat, and he ate it, and then there's other instruction. This is sacred stuff, so I'm not going to say it. The holy person gave the suicidal guy or the depressed guy more teaching, more knowledge, instruction, and so he was able to live with it. Yeah. So he said, it's the Western way of thinking. As soon as something goes wrong, their first tendency is to destroy it. But life isn't like that. Yeah. When a disease comes, do you really destroy it? Not really. Yeah, it might work itself out of your body, or it transforms into something different. He said we have to face this. This is we have to get to know it, yeah, and understand it as much as possible, and don't give it a label of bad, but see it as a disease. Diseases are not bad. They're just diseases. Yeah. Yes, some of them can kill, but some of them you can manage. Yeah, you can manage it and live a very, very long, healthy life. Yeah, you can manage it. And when you learn to do that, it's actually helping you. Yeah, as soon as you get a certain feeling or whatever, it kicks in, and then you have to get, as you get to know your disease, you become acquainted with it. Your mind starts talking to it subconsciously, and so when you're going along having an okay day, and all of a sudden something happens, and then your mind and this disease have made contact. And then you have to start thinking now. Yeah. Okay. Here, it's whatever is happening. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to have me a cup of coffee, and I'm just going to let it run its course, or whatever it is. Yeah. I'm going to let it It's just a disease. It's not me. It's the disease. Yeah, and I'm going to, whatever mechanisms you can think of, whether it's, you know, doing something and so that it's sending out a healthy energy, whatever that is that you choose to do. Yeah, and so as it runs, if you just feel it. Yeah, don't deny it. Just feel that emotion, then let it go, and then slowly come. Do breathe. Really slowly take longer breaths and just listen to everything around you. Yeah, listen to all the sounds around you, no matter what they are. If a ambulance car going by, somebody singing, or somebody humming really out of tune, or somebody's loud shoes going by, or people cussing at each other, or whatever. Just listen to each sound as it goes by, and then let it go. And then it's just keep doing this until you come to the point of slowly going within yourself, and then taking these deep breaths at the same time, and just listen to each breath. Just focus on that breath that you're making, and visualize your lungs going, compressing, and then spreading out again. And with every breath you take, just visualize that, and how other parts are connected to that, your heart, and all these things are all working together for you. Really focus on those things, and maybe throw in a visual now and again of something you like to do, or whatever, a symbol that really means something special to you, and or a song, or maybe there's a poem that you like, or whatever, and then then slowly come back to reality, and then you've grounded. Yeah, you didn't drive it away, but you told it to behave. You see what I mean? And then see, when you do this, you're getting power over it, and at the same time, your activities are actually increasing your health. So in that sense, that disease is helping you accomplish that. Yeah. So it becomes less painful. It becomes less whatever, and then you take away these adjectives of bad on the word pain, and you realize that pain is just part of an experience. Yeah, it's just part of an experience, but you transform it. Yeah, you make something of it, so it moves, and it's filled with peace after that. Even if you have to do that several times a day, do it several times a day, because you will get good at it. Yeah, practice makes atakili. One of my students once said, yeah, atakili means really good, damn good. Yeah, so you keep doing that, and then when you're doing this, you're becoming energy, a healthy energy. Yeah, it's inside of you, and it's flowing, and that's going to return to you 4 times as strong, and it's going to affect others. So even when you have a disease, you can still be a functioning member of society, and even be blessing others like that. And that's going to return to you, and it will help you. Yeah? In ways you don't understand, it's going to help you. So that disease is slowly transforming into a blessing. I know that's hard for some people to hear who are experiencing that right now. I understand that, because I've went through it too. I totally know what this is. Yeah? So don't worry. Yeah? It is possible. Just know this in your mind. Know this to be true, and focus on that, because that's connected to your emotions and your soul and your body. So when you start in any of the 4 parts of the self, it's going to affect the other 3. Then slowly start to think of those other parts and how they connect. Yeah? In your relaxation exercises, slowly visualize those 4 parts working together inside of you. Yeah? And then it will go in your favor because that's the natural law. Yeah, that will go in your favor. So, um, this is what this guy was doing. Yeah, so he received knowledge from this holy person, similar to what I just said, and then he he um did what do you call it? He learned how to live with it. He learned how to use it to make it work for him, and his life really changed. And these feelings of suicide went away. Yeah, and he just wanted to live day. You take it one day at a time. That's that's really, some people say, oh, that's the AA talk. No, it's not. Guess where AA got that from? They got that from the Indians. Yeah, this one day at a time. That's in Lakota. That's living in the present moment. Yeah, to be in the present moment as much as possible, because this influences the future in a healthy way. And when you come to peace with your past by learning from the difficulties from your past, you realize that difficulties are, they can be transformed into blessings, and then you have no more emotional attachments to that. Yeah, and that helps you to remember other things that are good, and you enjoy it all over again. Maybe it even feels better. Yeah, something from your past. So this helps you to stay in the present moment. So when difficulties come, you're able to face them because you know what they are now. They're not good or bad. They're just difficult, and it's just part of a process that you need to complete. And when you complete it, it becomes a blessing. In this way of thinking, yeah, you don't see the disease as a bad thing, but you just see it as, okay, this is I have this, now I know where I stand in my life, and now I just need to, work with it. Now I need to identify all the tools I have in my life, whether they're your family and friends, or maybe it's exercises, visualization, relaxation, or whatever. Yeah, and whatever it is, you do those things because they all connect. Yeah, the physical body, the mind, the emotions, the soul, they all connect. So going to church, going to ceremonies may not be enough. You have to do things. Yeah, maybe taking a walk, maybe learning something new. Yeah, all kinds of things. Whatever. Making a new friend or whatever. Um, and do it without expectation, yes, and or I should say, without unrealistic expectations, and just take it slow, and be in the present moment as much as you can. Yeah, and that's what another way to say it is one day at a time. Yeah, that's not Alcoholic Anonymous talk. No, they got that from the Indians. So it's right. Yeah. So just because you say one day at a time, that don't mean you're an alcoholic. It just means you're living in the present moment. And duality has addiction in it. You don't have to be a smoker or a bingo player or a alcoholic or to be an addict. You in dualism just perpetuates addiction. So most people in this world are addicted to something. So if you have a problem smoking, don't worry about that. It's so if there's people saying, "Hey, quit smoking, get out of here, you smoker, you're evil," whatever. Don't think anything about that, because the guy who said it has an addiction too. Yeah, and he's in denial, and he's addicted to something. That's Western thinking. Western thinking goes hand in hand with addiction. So even if you're not addicted to cigarette smoke, or smoking, or alcohol, or drugs, or bingo, or some kind, or religion, people can be addicts in all different kinds of ways, and they all have the same thing in common. They're either victims or oppressors. Yeah. So it's about recognizing dualism and then learning it, yeah, and how to make it work for you. That's the beginning. That's what puts you on the healthy road in dealing with your addictions. And then your addictions actually can help you from that point. Okay? I mean, you don't continue being an alcoholic. No, no, no. You use the addiction itself to you transform it. Yeah. So anyway, this is what this guy learned something like that. The suicidal guy from the story Victor was telling. Evidently, it really affected a lot of people in that department that where this Heoka guy worked. Yeah, there were other people that had other problems too, and this thing, this guy being a Heoka actually helped a whole bunch of people. The energy came back to him, and it helped him too. Because what you send out, it doesn't matter what it is, it comes back 4 times as strong, or 4 times stronger. So it other people started to think about things in their lives. Yeah, and because of this 3-month experience, a lot of the workers, and there's probably about 10 workers there, they all it affected them somehow, and it changed their lives for the better. Yeah, and it was a wonderful experience. And after that, that crew really came close. They became like a family. Yeah, and it was a wonderful thing. And like I said, one of these crew members he was suicidal, but through this experience, he was able to go exploring himself, and had a ceremony done for him to help him to learn about this, to make the disease work for him. And it's something he realizes he may live with for the rest of his life, but he's not scared of it anymore. Yeah, it doesn't show itself 24 hours a day, but when it does raise up and say, hey, then the guy says, hey, you be quiet. You know what I mean? And then the disease is like, oh, geez, he knows how to manage it. And then in managing that disease, he learns something. And learning is good. This is healthy. That gives him more power and gives him more peace. So in actuality, the disease is helping him. Do you see what I mean? And for some people that might be hard to understand, but this is the way it is. Don't classify the disease as a bad thing, even though it just can devastate some people. Be careful, yeah, because sometimes nature is this way. Things just happen, and sometimes they're horrible. We have to ride it out as best as we can. Yeah, so it was an interesting story. Yeah, this is what Victor told me, and so I was like, I thanked him for telling me that. So I didn't know you could be a Heoka for 3 months. And he said, no, he said he wasn't really a Heoka, but he told him to act like one, he said, for 3 months, and then to respect the thunder being, they did a ceremony. Yeah? Because see, the thunder being is cleansing, and so is the Heoka. The Heoka cleanses with laughter. And it really did. It didn't just affect the guy that was doing the Heoka thing. It affected all his coworkers. And they felt the cleansing too. Yeah? So it is a interesting thing, this concept. Yeah, and that's something I learned from Victor. See, this shows you the kind of guy he was. Yeah? He was no angel. Let me tell you that. But there's no such thing as angels, so that's okay. He was a funny guy. Yeah? I really, really liked being around Victor. That guy really had a good sense of humor. He's really a Lakota traditional guy. Yeah, I mean, he's, just like all of us, we make mistakes in our lives, but then there's moments in our lives where we We share information and we end up influencing somebody, and that can be a good thing. When I had this dinner with Victor, I wasn't teaching Lakota language yet. I was still working as a library director, and but that story always stuck with me. Yeah, that that sometimes some people, to get their answer, they have to do something for others. Yeah, because that is sending out the energy, and that energy returns to the sender 4 times as strong. And part of that return process might be opening up something within that person, so the answer comes from the sacred center. And that's what happened to this guy. And now he knew what to do. He made his decision, and life was nice. Yeah? Just thought I'd share that with you. And I'm thankful I got to meet this guy. Yeah, I'm thankful for the amount of time that I spent with him, and the knowledge that I learned from him. Because he taught me that day, yeah, that night, I should say. Some very interesting things here. The guy was a traditional man. And this is my thank you to Victor for you know, for sharing time with me. I really appreciate that. Ho hechetuelo. This is for Victor.